Hi, Robin with Oxy-Dry, and today we're going to do something pretty unusual because, well, I've never done this before. Well, okay, not exactly what I'm about to do anyway. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you down into the dusty corridors of the past and talk about the origins, how bonnet cleaning per se, which the SETT methodology has evolved out of, how it began, and just show you some interesting things here. So way back, and I don't know how long ago, this must have been in the 60s, it came out of janitorial cleaning, and what would happen is a janitor would be cleaning a place, and maybe he was asked to clean the carpet, and initially, of course, they're going to use an old vacuum like this back then. That's an old Royal there. But one of the things that used to happen, and I'm sure it happens sometimes still, the guys, a janitor's cleaning a place, and they say, yeah, can you give that carpet a bit of a go over there, and then, they grab the mop and put dip it into the solution and use a mop on the carpet. And I know that's been done. In fact, I'm pretty sure I've even seen that being done. And anyway, obviously not the best idea. And of course, way back in the beginning, when they were first starting to do carpet cleaning, often things were done, kind of Mickey Mousey and whatever. But anyway, somewhere along the line back then, somebody got the brilliant idea that, you know what, if the mop would work, but would work better if I could put the mop underneath my rotary and use the weight of the rotary, and spin the mop. And so somebody came up with the idea of taking a mop and making it into a flat kind of a disc. And this is one of the earlier styles of bonnets, and this one is actually a rayon blend. I think the original ones were probably just cotton. And what they would do is they'd take the bonnet like this, and you put it into the squeeze bucket like this. Yep, that's what they do. And then they take this, put it into here, and they squeeze out the excess. Squeeze out the excess. Oh boy. This is literally the first time I've done this with this thing here. So I'm thinking, oh my goodness me, I forgot how bad this is. And this was the initial bonnets that were used. And you can see how incredibly wet this would be. Actually, to call it dry cleaning is really a misnomer. It's soaking wet, actually. But anyway, and then later on they did a switch, or they did actually come up with these ones with the green stripes with the AstroTurf. But that came later. But this was the initial, how they would do it. And of course, back then, initially they would not even bother pre-spraying. Nobody thought of that, I'm sure, in the beginning. Eventually, people got onto that. But this was how they would take these bonnets, squeeze out the excess. You can do it by hand, too, to a certain point, but oh boy, because it's wet. I mean, it's very hard to control the amount of moisture that you're putting down. And then what would happen is the guys, are going to put it onto the floor, onto the carpet, and then they put the rotary on it, and we're going to do that in a sec. But what happened is people would tend to, go too far with the bonnet on the carpet, because if it starts to dry out, that's when you run into the risk of, drying it, and then if it gets too dry, then you can end up with burning the carpet or tip-limming the carpet. And that's where the initial problem started to appear with bonnet cleaning, as it were, because people that were doing it didn't really know what they were doing, and then it was pretty primitive. But this is kind of how it was done. So now you got the bonnet on the carpet, and you turn on your machine, and that's it. Does it work? Well, pretty much. It's actually cleaning. I know some guys do like these things. I'm not a fan of them, but notice how it's wobbling all over the place. But this is really how bonnet cleaning began. And it's, as I say, initially they wouldn't have, actually pre-treated the carpet. Probably not anyway. That came along pretty quick, I'm sure, but this was basically how it was done. And they wouldn't have had a tank on, they wouldn't have been shower feeding. I don't think anybody thought of doing that initially, but this is actually it's doing all right. I'm not saying it doesn't work, I'm just saying that it doesn't have the control and the precision that you would have with the different types of pads that we now have available, and the shower feeding gives you a much greater control. So now what we're going to do is we're going to stop that, and we're going to put one of these on here. So this would be, these came a little bit later, I'm not sure how much later, but again, you put the bonnet into the water. And by the way, I had probably more than a gallon on there. Most of it's already soaked up already. So we'll put that in there, squeeze out the excess. I think there's guys that are actually still doing this for residential even now today. And that's like, oh boy, okay. That's really wet. It's very, very hard to really properly control the amount of moisture you're putting to the carpet when you're doing it that way. You really can't control it, actually. But we'll take a look at this. Yeah, picked up a little bit. We'll put that over there, and we'll turn this one on. Oh yeah, look at that. A lot of moisture. You see, again, it's very, very hard to be precise with controlling how much moisture you put on. So obviously it's better to either pre-spray, which a lot of guys do, or I do what I prefer, which is to shower feed, or a combination of the two. But anyway, there you go. That gives you some context of where this all began, and bonnet cleaning, as it were. And it's gotten a lot more sophisticated, and we have so many more choices for different pads and attachments, and the chemistry is improved, our technique is improved, and that's why we want to rebrand it and call it SETT, Soil Extraction Transfer Technology. We're not using the bucket dunk method. That is very, very primitive and not a good idea, because as you can see, there's very poor control of the actual moisture going onto the carpet, and this pad is still pretty darn wet. But anyway, and of course now we have many different choices of pads. Here we have these microfibers, we have the fiber pads for pre-scrubbing, these type of microfibers. We just have so many, of course here's the Iron Man, which are cotton, the two ways, which are a synthetic blend. These are the super sorbs. Actually, I would use those only with the orbital machine anyway, but and these with the scrub strips. So many more choices now. So anyway, I thought you might find that interesting to see a little blast from the past using the bucket dunk method, but there you go. Kind of interesting to see that. I picked up these bonnets, came with the Koblenz when I bought it, so I thought, this will give me an opportunity to do this video I've been wanting to do, to show a little bit of the history here and how the bucket was once the way to go. It began there with somebody using a mop head, and then realizing, no, I need to make it into a flat disc, and then I put it underneath my rotary machine, squeeze out the excess in a bucket, throw it on the carpet, and away I go. And that's where it began. So anyway, I thought you might find that interesting. So anyway, thank you for watching, and have a good day.